Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How many rolls you got saved for our girl Astro this week, Matt?
Ooh, I think I have about 200 and something.
Oh, Matt, that's a beefy amount of rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you sound like a boy who didn't try to C2 Miyabi, and I respect that for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also joining us this week, one of my other best friends in the whole wide world, Rakush. Hey, Rakush.
Hey,
What was your best wonder pick this week?
my best wonder pick this week, I finally picked up a Snorlax.
Okay.
It's one of the cards I've been missing.
Boys, I know this is going to be a Nintendo adjacent episode this week. Some big news. Big news this week. And of course, the Mistake Zone is officially a podcast for Nintendo-year-olds like ourselves, but I know another component of this episode is the Pokemon TCG Pocket. Boys, wonder picking, not hot for me this week. Not hot. One day, I believe I sent you guys the screenshots. One day I received two four cost wonder picks. Didn't go great. And they were both in the same location, top middle. And I don't know, boys. I'm thinking of changing my game plan when it comes to the wonder pick spots.
But you know what, Jared? Honestly,
what's up?
Probably better at least that they were at a different spot, because the things that really annoy me with wonder picks is when the card doesn't move at all. So you put like all the strategy in, and you think you're good, you pick the right spot, and then it didn't move. It didn't budge.
That's how they get you.
I think my issue is my go-to spot is bottom right. And for the most part, every time I go to the Wonder Pick selection, the card I want is usually bottom right. So already mentally I think, oh, this is already going against my odds. But Pokemon friends, a lot of Pokemon news as well. I think pretty late when it comes to both, the actual TCG and of course the Pocket variation. But before we get to that, gotta ask our boy Rakush. Hey, Rakush.
Hi.
How much older are you feeling this week?
Guys, thankfully this time it wasn't a coworker that made me feel old, but like, you know how like sometimes as a kid you don't have the taste for certain things, and then like you get old and you try it and you're like, what was young me on? That's fucking delicious. Pardon the language. That's Rumballs for me, guys. Have you guys ever tried Rumballs before?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, so Rumballs used to be it's like a dessert basically. It's like this chocolate cake, like almost like the size of like a cupcake basically, doused in rum. So as a kid, like, sometimes like the family would bring it home and stuff like that. I'd take a bite and I'm like, wow, this is gross. Obviously, right? Because it's got rum in it. But yeah, like, it's like I just recently got it. Tried them again for the first time in years on New Year's Eve when I was doing like my New Year movie marathon. And the guy ate it and I was like, hey man, this is kind of delicious. What was I on? Not thinking this shit was great.
I mean, I think just as a kid, you probably already used to the taste of alcohol, right?
I mean,
Unless you know what, Rakush, I don't know how you lived your childhood. I can't, speaking for myself.
Fair.
no alcohol involved, to be fair. I had good parents. I had good parenting happening in my household. But yeah, I guess it was like the bitterness of it. Didn't really like, as a kid, like, I don't know. It's like this general sort of sentiment as a kid, like you're not going to like bitter stuff, right? So maybe that's what it was. But like, I don't know. Like I was eating it and I'm like, wow, I sure feel 35 eating this. Cause I'm like, yeah, the older I get, the more things I like eating. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. You just have to, grow up and get used to the bitterness of life.
That's what it is.
Yes.
The bitterness of life
Rumballs.
adds that extra zest to the Rumble. That's the secret.
Actually, now that you brought it up, Rakush, I have a question for you, the both of you.
Okay, what's up?
As old men now, have you guys eaten wine gummies in, recent memory?
Does licorice count?
No, like actual wine gummies.
No, I haven't eaten wine gummies.
No, I have not eaten. Like you're talking about like the brand wine gums, right?
Yeah, or anything adjacent to that.
I have not.
Do you think they'll taste better now that we're old men?
Honestly, I'm tempted to go buy some now just to answer this
same.
question for you next episode.
Okay, this might be our taste test for next week, but I know we said this would be a Nintendo adjacent episode, but gotta hit up that anime corner real quick.
Yeah.
Because Rakush, we talked about Sakamoto Days just a tad last week. I watched the first episode, kind of gave my quick thoughts. You being a manga fan. 1 week later,
Let's not
I
call
believe,
a fan. Let's not call me a fan of the manga.
Okay, a manga reader.
Yes.
At the very least.
Yeah.
And a week later, episode 2 has come out. We've both watched it as well. And, just real quick, this is the episode where the introduced Lu Xiaotang, I believe, voiced by one of my favorite seiyuu, once again, Ayane Sakura. But
I thought you were going to say Alexa Bliss.
no, I know her English voice actress is, I think, Rosalie Chang. So don't think Alexa Bliss's character has been introduced yet.
Right.
In terms of episode 2 of Sakamoto Days, Rakush,
Jaren?
this was rough. I know I was trying to put it mildly last week where I thought that, the animation quality wasn't that high, especially when it came to, the fight choreography and just the general combat. But watching, our protagonists fight the two twins this week in that building, to say I was less than impressed would be an understatement. And it was to the point where I don't want to be, openly harsh, openly negative towards something while I'm watching it, but watching this episode, the animation kind of was almost distracting to the point where I thought, man, I wish this was a bit better. And that's me asking for the bare minimum. But Rakush, you watched the first 2 episodes. How are you feeling with the anime so far?
It's pretty rough. I mean, I'm glad you kind of acknowledged that you're being too nice about this or try to be nice about this, because my first thought after watching the first episode was Jaren's being too nice about this. Like, it was significantly lower quality than what I was anticipating it would be. Now, I do want to just kind of like clarify what I mean by that is that lower quality than what I anticipated does not mean that it was horrible. It was just fine, right? And I think what I was expecting was something along the lines of Don, where it's like, hey, this is Jump's marquee anime for this season. They're probably going to try to get something good out of it. I guess I just kind of completely forgot that like Netflix doesn't really have a great track record of putting out original animes. Honestly, the quality isn't all that different from Way of the House Husband, which is kind of like, weird coincidence there. I don't know, man. I don't know like how the series continues for the long run is my only thing. It's very heavily dependent on good action or like, just action in general in the manga. One thing I will give credit to the author about is his art style is phenomenal. So I don't know what, like, say season 3, season 4, like if it gets to that point, I don't know if they're going to up the budget or whatever, but like the later chapters, the later plot is extremely reliant on action and like, set pieces and stuff like that. So what's going to happen at that point, because right now we're still in the episode of the week, the villain of the week part of a new series. What's going to happen when it gets into like the full story arcs and stuff? I don't know. And it's honestly a little bit rough right now. I know, like, we try to talk about things that we like. We try to talk about, like, with Don, loved it, right? Like, we try to say, like, positive things and nice things, but I don't know. Nothing was horrible with the first episode. Second episode, I think it dipped, and yes, that one was definitely rough, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's what you said where back... Sorry, Matt. back in 2019 when I was watching a lot of anime. I know there was different episodes of varying qualities and where the fight choreography or the animation, it wasn't up there and that was fine. But kind of as you were saying, Rakush, since this seems to be such a flagship jump anime, or at least in the small, I guess, corners that I frequent, this was supposed to be hyped up as one of the better ones of the season. That, I don't know, just seeing how it turned out made me just really disappointed because in theory, this is something that I should like a lot more than I actually do. It's just that I wish the animation kept up with, just the overall production. Where so far, I'm really liking the characters at the very least. I do like the dynamics between Sakamoto and his family and kind of just learning more about, their history. This episode introduced the family rules, learning more about that. And then seeing him essentially adopting, these two, Shin and Lu as well, where all that stuff I like. But again, the episode ends with the cliffhanger of, I guess it's just this organized crime syndicate saying, hey, we need to get Taro, we need to get Shin. And this is just going to lead to more hitmen going after them. And that means more, fighting. And
Yeah.
that's so far 2 episodes in, the fighting is the least interesting and like the least impressive thing about this. And that kind of makes it more disappointing than I feel like it should.
There's also like a really weird tone shift that happens in like some of these story arcs and like quick hit story arcs sometimes. Like with this episode, it's like you have a series that is kind of setting itself up with like this overweight protagonist that is supposed to be played as, or like at least on the surface, is a gag character, but then like it'll cut to like the two villains, the brothers, beheading a dude and just holding that dude's head, and you're like, it's such a weird like combination of tones and everything as well. Like there's just it feels entirely out of sync, and yeah, not the strongest few episodes this season, I would say.
Yeah, I'll stick around with it. Probably this will be our last check-in for a bit, unless something drastic catches our attention. But yeah, Sakamoto Days, I don't want to poo-poo it so much, but it's true. I had, just based on everything I've been hearing, I've had a lot higher expectations where if I didn't have, I guess if it wasn't overhyped to me going in, I think I would have thought, oh, this is fine. But yeah, again, if this is supposed to be a flagship anime tier, then that's where it kind of gets rough for me. But moving on from Sakamoto Days to digital card games, Matt, Pokemon Pocket TCG, I believe we're getting a update this month based on I believe it was a social media post by the official Pokemon TCG Pocket, I guess, social media page. But correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. This introduces a new set and trading. Do you have any?
Introduces the key part of this game's title.
Yep. Matt, what do you think about the news that's been released so far?
I am very interested in this news. I wish it was more comprehensive with regards to like how it's really, really going to work.
Yes.
So, is it cool if I just kind of read out some of the things about the trading and then like we can chat about it after?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is about the trading part of the trading card game. A couple of things that they've shared with us. Trades can be done between friends. Pretty obvious. Trades can be done with cards of the same rarity. So the rarities are 1 diamond to 4 diamond, and then the 1 gold stars. Anything above that is untradeable. At the time of the trade feature's launch, certain cards from the Genetic Apex and Mythical Island booster packs will be able to be traded. We're planning to continue to expand the selection of booster packs that you can trade from. This one's kind of like weirdly worded because those are the only booster packs that are out, but this tells me that the new booster pack is going to come out before the trading feature is implemented, which is part of this release as well, the new booster pack. and then items must be consumed in order to trade. And this one is, I guess, the one that's the most open-ended about like what the items are, how much of the items do you need, TBD.
I know, like we kind of went by this point very quickly, but I am actually kind of surprised at trades can be done between friends.
Really?
Yeah, like I understand why they would want it to work that way. Considering, I guess just like Pokemon and like its Nintendo kind of like leanings. But I'm surprised that you need to be friends with somebody to trade with them. I would have thought it would work something like how Pokemon, like the actual, like, the Pokemon games work, where you can trade with someone via code.
I guess for me, looking at, I guess this is a press release, but the information drop that they did, in terms of a digital space, I was kind of relating it to what we've seen with Pokemon Go and how their trading works, which, again, it's been many moons since I've actually logged into Pokemon Go, but a lot of these things that were listed was kind of reminiscent of how it was handled there, where you needed the Stardust. I believe you needed to be friends. And then, of course, not touching about the lucky trade stuff and all of that. But I think everything they listed was pretty much in line with at least what I was kind of expecting based on the framework led with Pokemon Go. I think, Rakush, to your point, where, the third note of, at the time of trade, it can only do these 2 boosters, where to me that read, oh, we want you to spend all your Poke coins and buy a bunch of Poke coins to open up all the sets once they drop, and then maybe a month or 2 later they'll be eligible for trading there. But yeah, again, nothing too surprising. It's what, to your points of what is the item? Is it going to be a currency already in this game, or is it going to be a currency that gets added? Maybe this will it tie to being thanked now, or I think that's the biggest question here.
What's your preferences, the two of you, for which item should be consumed? Do you prefer that it be a pre-existing one like the Shine Dust, or do you prefer that it be a net new item?
It kind of depends. 'Cause I feel like I personally right now do not want it to be Shine Dust, because I feel like Shine Dust accumulation is a little bit slow to me.
Yep.
Which is why I would prefer a new currency that either accumulates faster, or, and I feel like this is probably the one that's like most people would probably be against, is like some kind of like cooldown related thing, similar to like like the Wonder Pick kind of like currency that you used to trade.
Right.
And you know how much Pokemon TCG Pocket loves their cooldown currency. Where, now that you brought that up, Matt, I can definitely see it being similar to the Wonder Pick, or your battle events, where it's, hey, maybe you do, depending on the rarity, it might cost 5 of these currencies that regen over 3 days, so you're not trying to funnel all your alts into one account as well. Where I know it doesn't mention it, but to be honest, I'm surprised there's no friend cooldown, similar to something like a Fortnite, where you can't gift something in Fortnite unless you've been friends with someone for like 3 days or so. Which I was sort of expecting there. And I don't know, in terms of an alternate currency, I was maybe thinking of something similar to a lot of mobile games that I play, where you do have social points where, every day you log on, you go to your friends list and say, hey, I'm going to send a social point to all the friends on my friend list. And then you build up those social points for either a pull, or I guess how I would see it in Pokemon Pocket TCG would be, hey, I can trade based on how many social points I have. But based on the framework, I can just totally see it being similar to the Wonder Point or Wonder Pack, similar to the event battles. But how do you guys feel about the card rarity not restrictions, but the limitations?
I think that part makes the most sense to me. Because, like, and honestly, like, a lot of the things we've talked about make a lot of sense to me as to, like, why they're built the way they are, right? Because one thing I don't want happening with this game is what's happened with physical Pokemon cards, where it's kind of become a little bit hype beasty, right? Like you just go buy all the packets and you try to sell it for like a higher value, or you try to pull the rare cards and stuff. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that if you're like a genuine collector, but if you're like, like there's videos on social media of like these dudes lining up for Costco and going and just buying up like cartons and cartons of Pokemon 151 or whatever that is, right? I don't want that happening with this game, where it's like you can like basically kind of like pay your way to buy like, a 2-star or 3-star. I don't want that happening. That's why also like I'm cool with trades only being allowed between friends, because otherwise like you're kind of opening yourself up to what basically happened with Animal Crossing. Albeit that was fun, the plane tickets thing essentially set up like this really interesting kind of like community-based black market, where like if you're looking for certain Animal Crossing characters, you pay X amount of plane tickets, and like suddenly there's an actual market value for like X characters and stuff. It's really interesting, but also not something I want to see with this game. And yeah, like even just them limiting it to like the older boosters. Yeah, like I mean, it is a mobile game. They got to make some money and stuff like that. But just kind of like, yeah, it kind of like tones down like, the more like recency bias element of like, or the hysteria that can come with like, new booster packs, new cards, I need this right away kind of stuff. So like, I don't hate any of this personally. To keep this a comfy game, I don't hate it.
Right. And I think for me personally, the biggest thing came towards the end of the presser, where our next booster pack is planned to be added this month, and I know rumors are going around right now. I've been seeing Lugia, I've been seeing the word Johto being thrown around. Starting with you, Matt, anything you want to see out of the next set coming to Pokemon TCG Pocket?
Honestly, I don't really have anything in particular that I'm looking for, but I think for me, I do just want it to not focus on the 151. Like I know that there is like representation of like stuff that is outside of 151, but they are very 151 focused, and I'd like to see stuff move away from there. And I think in terms of just cards themselves, I would like seeing more interesting like Pokemon abilities within this next booster set.
Right. Okay. And Rakush, as someone who is pretty, I don't want to say super deep into the arena portion, but as Matt kind of hinted at, meta-wise, is there anything you're hoping for to come to the arena that might spice things up?
I think just seeing better cards for certain Pokemon types. So like, would love to see more metal type Pokemon. Would love to see kind of like a new meta there. The Darkness decks are pretty fun right now. They're not... It's weird to say it, but like it's the one non-OP deck right now. But I would like to see an OP card for it, just because I don't know, like it makes it a little bit easier to play those decks sometimes, So like that would be fun. I think just kind of seeing a little bit more variety in that stuff instead of just focusing on like water type, fire type, grass type, lightning. Like let's see a little bit of the more like niche, I guess, for lack of a better term, Pokemon types. I think that's a big thing.
Okay, fair enough. So, Pokemon trading card game Pocket update coming sometime this month, with that being less than 2 weeks away. Hopefully that comes out pretty soon and we can talk about our experiences ripping and I guess battling in the arena when that time comes. But Rakush,
what up?
You opened the floodgates. Gotta take this portion just to talk about everything that's been happening in the Pokemon, physical TCG world, because boys, do I have some doozy stories for you this week, where it's been a beefy week for Pokemon TCG, the physical one, and not all of it is pretty great. Rakush, you were alluding to it. Pokemon Scarlet Violet 151 Blooming Waters, this kind of combo pack recently came out, I believe, in the States. And of course, Rakush was referring to all the social media videos circulating of people just going wild at LA Costco's. saw that one video of a plasma or of a TV falling over because people are disgusting, and it's wild how people are treating these. But I come
Disgusting
to
and
you,
under 5'5".
yes. But boys, I come to you this week with my own Pokemon
Oh
151
man, did you
Blooming
fight someone,
Waters
Jaren?
story. So
Oh no, he didn't say no
earlier,
to that. Oh my god.
Oh no.
so the day after we recorded last week, I went to Costco to fill up on gas and then just buy some stuff that for some groceries and honestly some gym mats that were on sale because I'm still still trying to do our home gym because actually going to the gym still scares me. But I walk into Costco and I don't know how the Costco's around you guys are set up, but for the one near us, they put most of the clearance items kind of near the front door. And the moment I walked in, I looked to my right and there was a cart full of, in all, 16 boxes of the 151 Blooming Waters, where I was literally shocked because I believe these have been sold out in Canadian Costco's for a week or two now. So just to see essentially a cart full of them at our Costco, I was floored. So me being me, I picked one up and texted the picture to my partner and said, "Isn't this weird? Why is this here? I thought this was all sold out." So I go about, pick up my gym mats, immediately get a text from her saying, "You should buy them all." Because let's be honest, if there's going to be vultures, we should be the vultures because we're good people, right, guys? That's the mentality. Where all the
Yeah.
vultures are bad, but if we are the vultures, we're good people,
It's a
right?
trash game when I'm losing, but it's a good game when I'm winning.
Damn. See, Jaren, now I feel bad about everything I said 5 minutes ago.
So I go back to the front of the store to get more 151 Blooming Waters. Boys, cart's gone. Someone legit, and there was a limit of 10, so some scumbaggery was going around there since there was 15 packs left. And had to send the text of shame. Well, I only got this one, which is unopened to Rakush's point, because I'll be honest, our 151 master set is complete. I don't know. It's something that every time I'm in the sitting room, I'll look at the binder and just flip through it because seeing a full collection is pretty cool. But that's my Blooming Waters story. And to go with that, there was a new Pokemon TCG set released this week, Prismatic Evolutions, which is a Eevee and Evolution centric set. And earlier this week, we got word from, the actual game saying that, oh, we underprinted this set. We'll be printing more in the future, but our initial shipments to stores will be less than expected. And then you go through social media, you go through the subreddits, and it's a lot of stores saying, hey, we're getting reduced stock. We won't be able to fulfill pre-orders. And this week, my partner and I got calls from GameStop saying, hey, I know you guys have some pre-orders. We have to limit to one per customer. So the day of release, I know our boy Rakush is going to start shaking his head. Even though I had a pre-order for one ETB Elite Trainer box and one poster set, might have moseyed my way to another GameStop just to see if I could snag a walk-in copy. And I get there, I think, half an hour before opening, already a line forming, and started chopping it up with the people in line, asking, hey, do you know if there's going to be some walk-in product? No one really knew. We were just talking about the game, upcoming sets. And luckily, 10 minutes before opening, the associate opens the door, asks, hey, are you guys here for Pokemon? Do you have pre-orders? Nope. Well, we only have enough to fulfill pre-orders. So you have better luck going to the mall down the street. And made my way to the mall down the street where... Sorry again, Rakush. I pre-ordered the ETB, lined up. They asked if I had a pre-order. I said no, got me an ETB. A few minutes later, the guys I was standing in line with at the other store came through. Hopefully, they got their own product. But End of the day, we came home and we had all our Elite Trainer boxes to open. And boys, not good opens. The whole reason I was really excited for the set was for the secret illustration rares, which were golden cards, and of course, those being the more rare ones. Our hits weren't the best. I think the best one we got was a Sylveon X and a Jolteon with a Pokemon ball stamp on it. Where I know you guys aren't really part of the physical collecting aspect of the Pokemon card game, but I wanted to get your thoughts on essentially all the card variations that you can get in Pokemon right now. Where I know you guys know about, the X cards, the full arts, the secret illustration rares, but I'm talking more so about the common cards. It's your basic, hey, here's a picture, and then here's all the attacks on the bottom and whatnot. Where, Matt, I know it's been a minute since you followed the kind of card game, but do you know how many variations there can be of just say a basic Pokemon card?
As far as I know, for the basics, there were never really that many back when. I mean, I used to look at Pokemon cards when I was, a lot younger, but I'm guessing it's a lot more varied now.
Yeah. So basically, for a basic Pokemon card, from rare, like your commons to, let's say, your rares, you have, your normal basic card, but then you can also get your reverse hollow variant where the background is kind of a hollow shiny. Mm-hmm. But with the latest 151 release in Japan, or reprint in Japan, Matt, how would I tell you, how do you feel about there being two new variations to the common and rare cards?
What is the variation? What is a variation?
So you have your normal card, basic print. Then you have your reverse hollow, which is, of course, the revert. Like the art itself isn't hollow, but the rest of the card is. And then you have the hollow variation where, the picture is hollow, and those are usually for the rare cards. But now, Matt, you have the Pokeball stamp where there's a Pokeball imprint in the middle of the card. It's kind of like a reverse hollow, but it has a Pokeball stamp. And then you have the Master Ball variant where it's just a Master Ball stamped on your Pokemon card. And let's just say a Master Ball variant of a card goes for a lot of money. Oh, man. And seeing these new variants in the flesh made me realize, man, if you want to have a complete master collection of all the different variants, moving forward, that's going to be a lot of money, and that's going to be really disgusting. But yeah, I don't know, Matt, Rakush, I feel like so this was like the third Pokemon set that my partner's just really into kind of collecting, so she's been in the game way longer than me. But for me personally, this was the third set I really bought into, and I don't know, I feel like the days of me, going in on sets, going in on ETBs, might be behind me, just because just like my poor gacha rolls in gacha games feel pretty empty. And as much as I want to say, I'm going to wait for a potential Team Rocket booster or a Johto booster, the next set, Journeys, Matt, has some really sweet Iono cards, which, goddamn.
Jaren, I know you got to pull for those. I know you have to pull for those.
I tried to pull for Lucia last set, didn't work out, but I've been talking a lot about Pokemon, but since our pal Rakush successfully beat his internet connection issues, Rakush?
Yeah.
As someone who was a GameStop employee, can we do a little GameStop employee roleplay right now? Because I put our GameStop
really putting me back into dark days. Damn. Okay, let's do this.
So Rakush, I put our GameStop clerk through the ringer on Friday when I went to pick up my Pokemon pre-order. So as someone who has worked in the business before, I want to know how I made her feel afterward, like what she thought about my transactions at the end of the day. So
you don't got to worry about any of that, Jaren, because she's already dead inside.
Let me paint a picture for you, Rakush. Last month, I pre-ordered two Elite Trainer boxes for this Pokemon set, and then three, and I paid those off fully last month. Plus, I had an order of three poster sets, which only had $5 deposits for each. Now, I get a call where, okay, it's now limit one per customer, so you can only have one of each of the things you pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Now also consider when I paid off the ETBs, I paid it off with tax included, and now considering that there's no tax for card games in Canada until I think halfway next month, that has to be considered. And she also saw that an employee canceled their pre-order of the sticker set, so now she can sell me one of the sticker set packs. And I essentially asked, hey, can you just cancel everything I pre-ordered and just check me out for these three items? And then she said, I can't do that for the system. So for the next 15 minutes, we were trying to math it out, how much I owed, how much she owed me, what I had to pay, and all that. So Rakush, in that situation, how would you feel by the end of the day?
15 minutes.
Yes.
How many people were in line?
Three, but they're all teenagers who were all just talking about themselves and they didn't really care.
Okay. Oh man. I probably would have checked them out first and then just dealt with you afterwards.
Does this bring back any PTSD memories from your time at GameStop, Rakush?
Yeah, tons. Like every week was PTSD from that job. This one seems the most similar to when Street Fighter 4 came out. They underprinted the amount of collector editions that came out for that game, for the PS3 specifically, and I was like second or third on the pre-order list. Like I pre-ordered that shit like before I had even worked there, essentially. Unlike the Good Samaritan person that canceled their pre-order for the stickers for you, I did not cancel my pre-order. I very much bought that game, took it home, smile on my face, sucked at the game, but absolutely just, enjoyed having that game. Next week, one of the regular customers complains that I took it home, and I'm like, cool, write me up if you want to, but I had a pre-order for this. So a lot of that kind of stuff used to keep happening as well, where it's like, these people would be very chummy with you because, they see you on a regular basis. But when it comes time for you also to kind of be a customer, for when it comes time for you to like, I don't know, like use some of the benefits from working at a company like that as well, or like a store like that too. No, suddenly you're just a piece of shit to them. So, yeah.
Man, Rakush, you working at GameStop during the time of the Street Fighter 4 reminds me of one of my two favorite Rakush GameStop stories. And that one being, we're all waiting in line for Street Fighter 4. You guys had a massive line.
Oh, yeah, you were there for
that day. I specifically remember. I was in the middle of the line waiting to pick up my pre-order of the collector's edition for the Xbox 360 version of the game.
Uh-huh.
And I remember you went to the back, got someone's pre-order, came back with my pre-order in hand, and just handed it to me saying, you already paid this off, are you in line? And then you went back to the clerk and everyone was just staring at me, who was now holding the collector's edition in my hand.
Excellent.
Amazing.
I honestly, I don't know, like I got to a certain, into a zone with like retail work at some point where I was just like, I do not give two flying bleeps anymore. I already cussed at the start of the episode. I'm not going to cuss again. But I would just get to a point where I'm like, dude, it's a massive lineup. I'll chat with you later. I'm really sorry. I know, best friend of mine in line can't really spend a lot of time talking. So I was like, here you go. Just, next one up. Like, even for Resident Evil, because I think Resident Evil was like a couple of weeks before or after that as well. There was a lot of bull going around about basically essentially like someone said, oh yeah, I pre-ordered Resident Evil, turn behind me, pick up PS3 version, and then it was like, okay, what's your pre-order? Check it. We only had limited avails for that one too, so I was like, oh yeah, sorry dude, can't actually sell this to you yet. We got to go first come first serve. Got written up for that a week after that as well. So yes, fun times.
Oh man,
what was the second memory, by the way?
That was the time I went to, I believe we were at another location you eventually worked at, and no, it might have been the same location, but I wanted to I think I was trying to trade in Batman Arkham Asylum towards Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. And then I brought the game up to the cashier to trade in, and then it was you and a coworker working, and your coworker looked at me and said, "You just want the Banjo-Kazooie for the Xbox Live, don't you?" So he just like goes into the drawer, gives me like the pre-order code, and it's like, "Don't trade that in. Like Arkham Asylum's a way better game than Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts."
I actually don't remember that.
I was on my way to download that 60. Honestly, I did want Nuts and Bolts, but I finished Arkham Asylum that week anyway. But before we move on from GameStop stories, Matt, you know me. I like to take other people's stories and present them as my own.
Okay.
So when waiting in line for the Pokemon Prismatic box at the first one of the guys I was talking to, we were just talking about, GameStop, EB Games, line culture, and, the midnight releases. And he told us a story about how, I believe it was for Black Ops 2, he wanted to get it at launch, and he went in to pre-order the game, I think the afternoon before the midnight release. So he goes in, and this might also spark PTSD for you, Rakush. He says, "Hey, I want to pre-order Black Ops 2 before the midnight release tonight." And then the guy asks, "How old are you?" And he said, "I'm 17. And he was told, "Nope, you're under 18. You can't pre-order the game." And he sent him away. Where when he was being sent away, a guy kind of towards the back of the line overheard it, waved the kid over and said, "Hey, I'll be your dad. Let's go pre-order the game for you." So we go back, sign the... he was like, "Oh, hey, this is my dad." And the clerk just looks at the guy and saying, "This is really your dad?" And he was like, "Yep." So he's like, "Okay," signs off the pre-order. And then he goes about his day. The midnight release, the kid comes back and sees now the line is wrapped around to the back of the building. It's probably like 11:30. He figures, he won't get the game until like 1 a.m. or later. So he's walking towards the back of the line when all of a sudden he hears, "Hey son, where are you going? We're first in line." And it was the guy who signed to be his dad first in line. So he cut the line with them, was one of the first people to get the game, and he was playing the game by like 12:20 that night. And I thought that was a great midnight launch story.
Also, that clerk's an amateur, dude. Because what you're supposed to do for those kind of games is take the pre-order so your numbers get inflated. But when it comes time to actually sell the game is when you ask for the ID. And then you can cancel the pre-order afterwards, whatever. But like he didn't have the strategy, right?
Rakush, what are some of you, now that we're in the GameStop corner, do you have any midnight release stories from your time serving for GameStop?
I actually have one with a friend of the show, Freddie. This is back when we used to all work in like the same mall. He used to work for KFC. And the first midnight launch that I ever worked, I'm pretty sure it was Grand Theft Auto 4 or Modern Warfare 2, one of those games. And he actually just gave us like a free bucket of chicken. It was fucking great. Sorry, I just cussed there. He just gave us a free bucket of fried chicken. And so we just kind of had that. And then the whole store smelled like fried chicken. It was amazing.
I thought you were going to say you rejected his pre-order because he was under 18 at the time or something.
That would have been great. That would have been a good goof.
Matt, I gotta ask, we've done our fair share of midnight releases, some for the heck of it, some just because we wanted to hang out with our friends past midnight. But do you have any waiting in line stories that come to mind now that you're put on the spot?
I mean, whenever I think about waiting in line, I always think about that one kind of Boxing Day when we were waiting, I believe at a Best Buy. I can't remember who said it, but I remember a fire truck coming in for some reason, and then somebody sparked the idea of, "Oh man, there must be some hot deals at this Best Buy," and that just being the goof for the whole night.
That's good. That's really good. Jared, you know what that reminded me of? There was like this one Boxing Day. It wasn't a midnight launch or nothing, but Boxing Day, you were buying a TV from some store. I can't remember what the store's name was, but there was like a decent deal. You were like fourth or fifth in line. I'm sitting in the car. I'm kind of like freezing my ass off. But then also like I'm just like, going in and out of the car, hanging out with you. And some guy that was like in line behind you just looks at me. He's like, "Hey brother, you got to go to the back of the line if you're buying a TV." And I had to like just tell him like, "Dude, I'm not buying a TV. I can't even afford this right now." And like someone started laughing out loud after that. I'm like,
Line culture be wild. And before we move on, Matt, one more waiting in line story that always pops up to my mind. Matt, remember the Wii days?
Oh God.
Dude, I got one for that too.
Remember that one morning where we went to, I believe, was it Walmart or Zellers or Target, where I believe it was like 4 or 5 a.m. We went to line up. Our friend Steve drove us, and we went to line
Yes,
up.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
And then, so we're in line, and we went to line up. One of the associates comes out. It's like, hey, we only have enough Wiis for the first, I don't know, 6, 7 people. And I think we were maybe like 10th, 11th, somewhere there. And we thought, damn, not our day today. So we're like, okay, let's go. Our pal Steve, he was the designated car guy at the time. He was like napping the car. It's like, well, let's go get Steve. And then we're walking back to Steve's car, and we just see him drive off because he was going to Tim Hortons to get a coffee. And I remember us just like standing there laughing to ourselves. But
If I remember correctly, we tried to follow him, and when we got close to Tim Hortons, he drove back.
Amazing. That's good. That's great.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
oh man, Rakush, did you were you working EB during the Wii times, or was that before your retail
No,
adventures?
that was actually like 2 months before I started EB. In fact, like the Wii launch was kind of the reason I got the EB job. So essentially roughly why I got the job. So I was actually lined up along with Freddie outside of a Walmart for the Wii. And it like was on a complete whim as well, because I was actually working the McDonald's job at that point, and the McDonald's inside the Walmart. So, I was just there, finished up, and then like I'm about to like go home, and I just kind of like walked past the electronics section, asked one of the dudes I knew that worked there, I'm like, yo, how many you got, right? He's like, such and such amount. There was like no lineup outside. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to line up. So I went to like the clothing section, bought just like a little bit of a shawl or something like that, had a chair, just sat down. And the lineup kind of kept growing throughout the night. But my favorite part about all that, 2 favorite parts, we disconnected one of the vending machines that was selling Coke cans and connected a projector to it so that we were playing Smash Bros. And then someone put on like Batman Begins after a little bit. And then another person started a bonfire in the lineup. Except like it's like a very mini bonfire, but hey, everybody enjoy the shit out of it because we were freezing our butts off, right? And so this guy like stepped away for a bit. Security shows up. They're like, who started the fire? And nobody said anything. It was like one of those moments of like pure solidarity. There's like 30 people in line. No one said a single peep about it, because they're like, we're not getting this dude kicked out. And he's like, if you guys don't say who did it, everyone's getting kicked out. And still nobody said it. Nobody got kicked out. It was great. And then we got the win. It was a fun story. And then like after that, I went and pre-ordered Guitar Hero 3.
Amazing.
And that was at the EB. And that's where like, I handed in my resume like a day later, because they were like, hey, we're always hiring for seasonal. And yeah, that's how I got that job.
Damn, the Rakush GameStop EB Games origin story. Didn't think I'd hear that today, but glad I did. But boys,
yeah, this episode turned like weirdly reminiscent, and we're like, yeah, somewhat our episode. The last 30 minutes have been us reminiscing about like half our lifetime ago.
Oh man, but I'm glad where we ended up, because yesteryear we were waiting for the Wii, but boys, I think this year we'll be waiting for that Switch 2, because it's real. We now live in a post-Switch 2 reveal world. After, would you say, months of supposed leaks, we finally got a 3-minute video kind of showing off what the console looks like, a glimpse at Mario Kart 9, and a date for us to learn more this April. But Matt, after watching 3 minutes of, essentially a CG Switch 2, and then, I don't know, 10 seconds of Mario Kart. After we scrubbed it, going frame by frame, what are your initial thoughts of just the reveal, and how is this a suitable conclusion for months of leaks?
I mean, okay, to be honest, Jaren, I think we're going to talk a lot about this bit by bit, but the thing that stood out to me the most as being kind of a weird thing for the Switch 2 is that the body of the Switch 2, like the part where the screen that the Joy-Cons connect to, the kind of like recess where the Joy-Cons go in is colored, and that weirded me out.
Really?
Yeah, like if you kind of take a look at the trailer, there's a part where, the Joy-Cons are being connected to the Switch 2 for the first time, and the color is inside the groove. Like, they have the kind of like red, orange, and then like the blue on like, either side. And the part where you connect to it is that color. And that's strange to me.
Hey, man.
But I feel like that's such a minor thing.
I thought you were going to talk about how the part on the console that connects into the Joy-Con is sticking out.
I looked more into that when people started talking about it. Apparently, it's like quite recessed, but I still think that that's gonna be like a point of failure for probably not people like us who are not Nintendo-year-olds, but for actual Nintendo-year-olds, I could see that being a breaking point.
I think it depends on how sturdy that part is or how thick that part is, right? Like, if you make it thick enough that it doesn't snap off, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, like the initial look for it made it seem a little bit thinner. So I am curious about that.
And I think in general, it's such a weird design choice because, that was immediately one of the first things that caught me off guard. So when you watch the Switch reveal trailer and it shows you the side of the Switch, there's essentially that, what would you call it, like the plug or whatever, that kind of inserts into the Joy-Cons themselves. And for some reason, I thought that it was notably long. And that's where all the discourse came around of, oh, this might snap. If you put it in wrong, it might break. Where I'm used to, maybe I'm not the biggest person in the Apple ecosystem. I do have my fair share of Apple products. And, with the lightning cables or the charging cables, at least those plugs are relatively short and looked, for the most part, pretty sturdy. Where, I don't know, there's just something about how it was presented that really caught me off guard, where I would assume that maybe something that was a bit shorter and longer might make me feel more comfortable, because let's face it, I'm a clumsy boy. But I'm hoping that it is pretty sturdy. But yeah, that was one of the more, I guess, areas of concern that really caught my attention. But other than that, Matt, what else caught your attention for how the Switch 2 at least looks as a console?
I mean, how it looks is very much what I expected. I guess like going piece by piece here now. The body, I think, is like very interesting. It's nice that it has charging ports on both the top and the bottom now.
Yep.
I remember, it wasn't very often, but I did run into those issues where I wish I could charge this while I was playing in it's not called handheld mode. What do they call it when it's like just on the table in front of you? It's like just like calling it desktop mode,
portable mode.
Or yeah, like like that mode where like, oh, I was low on battery, but I still wanted to keep playing, and the port is on the bottom, so now I had to like do this weird thing where I plug it in and I'm looking at it from like 90 degrees above it. I don't know, it's a really weird situation that I'm glad that they have decided to fix, and I'm hoping that isn't only going to be used for charging, because Jaren, we've talked about it before on the Mistake Zone. If they have some peripherals here and there, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah.
And I guess like also going towards the body stuff as well. I very much like that the kickstand doesn't look like it's going to break if I, push a bit too hard on it.
I mean, to be fair, the kickstand has been, I think, with the LED Switch or whatever the re-release portion was.
The OLED?
They did fix the kickstand. Yeah, the OLED.
Oh, okay.
They fixed the kickstand, but I believe for the Switch 2, it does allow you to push it back even further, which, hey, might be good for some people who do the... Yeah, it isn't handheld mode, but I guess to the gaming, general public, it is rooftop mode, where boys, how disappointed were you that no young 20-somethings were playing this on a rooftop during the reveal?
Kind of disappointed, Jaren. I wanted to see this in its natural environment.
of course.
R.I.P. Ryan Davis.
I was also depressed that people weren't hooping and then playing it when they were taking breaks in between the sets. But sorry to kind of cut ahead of you, Matt, but we've heard the rumors before that these Joy-Con might also double as a mouse. And while not, I don't believe it was outwardly confirmed. During a portion of that trailer, we do see that shot of the Joy-Cons kind of gliding across a surface where, Matt, how do you feel about potential mouse tech in Joy-Cons for the Switch 2?
I am very, very interested in that because, Jaren, like I think I've said a lot on the mistakes on that I am very much a keyboard and mouse type gamer, and to have a mainstream system start to implement some kind of like mouse control officially, like handle mouse control, is kind of exciting, because especially since it's Nintendo, because Jaren, I am in particular looking forward to seeing if Splatoon 4 is going to have mouse support or mouse mode support or something like that. And, going back to the peripherals, I'm really interested in seeing if they're going to have like a mouse housing style peripheral for the Joy-Con.
My favorite thing about that clip of the Joy-Cons is people going, "Oh no, the Joy-Cons are still drifting."
That's a good goof. But I know immediately when that shot was shown, I had my Switch on my desk, so I took one of the Joy-Cons and started, kind of mimicking how it would potentially feel to have it as a mouse. And I initially thought, oh, this might not feel comfortable, but kind of moving it around, I think it could be pretty okay, especially if the buttons are of similar build quality. Hopefully, like, they'll feel a bit better. But I was actually surprised at how this could potentially work. And I know the immediate reaction to that was, oh, does this mean new Mario Paint? Does this mean new Mario Maker? And of course, how will this change how Splatoon is played, especially since gyro controls are so embedded in, its population or its fan base, where Matt, as a Squid Kid, would potential mouse controls get you really excited for Splatoon 4?
I mean, like I've already said, I am very excited for hoping that Splatoon 4 decides to implement the mouse mode.
Okay. And I know when I went to test out how it would feel to use a Joy-Con as a mouse, because of course you're essentially moving it on its side. So I thought that would feel uncomfortable. It does feel pretty good. But we did also get to see how it connects to the Switch now with essentially more magnetic instead of sliding in, where any thoughts on that change?
I mean, I think that I honestly almost feel like it's a step back from sliding, to be honest. I kind of wish it still slid in, mostly just because, like, that's how I expected it to work, and I think it's going to be totally fine, to be honest. As far as like it goes, like that's like one of the things that I worry the least about the Joy-Con.
Okay, and hopefully no drift this time.
Hopefully no. I've heard that these are going to have Hall effect
right
joysticks, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore.
Okay, what else from the trailer caught your attention?
Okay, so I want to know what you guys think about this as well, because like, how do you guys feel about the Joy-Con color scheming of it being majority black with kind of colored highlights?
Okay, the only question I have about that personally is how is that going to work when you have like Joy-Con color variations, right? Like, is the body of the Switch, like, how you're talking about like the color trimming, is the body of the Switch going to have that color trimming as well, or is the body going to be all black?
Yeah, like I don't know as well. Like that's why I really thought it was weird that the colored trim is inside the body of the Switch.
Yeah, because if it's inside the body of the Switch, how's that going to work if you want like different colored Joy-Cons and stuff, right? Like, because like, I mean, sure, like people who don't care about that can just buy it and it'll be whatever, but like for me, if I see that, it's going to bug me.
Yeah,
that's
like,
fair.
I mean, Jaren, how are you feeling about it?
Honestly, the Joy-Cons are probably going to be in most of the time, even when it's docked, so I probably won't notice. I think the blue and orange combination, well, you know, it's a shout out to the New York Knicks, but that screams Splatoon 1 for me, and I'm more of a
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 color comp. Matt, remember our color ratings for Splatoon? I'm more so a fan of Splatoon 2, so I would have preferred that be green, and I believe it was pink, but I think blue and orange are okay. I'll probably boys, when you bought your Switch or your first Switch, did you get the blue red or did you get the black?
I went in on a Splatoon 2 bundle, so I had the neon pink and the neon
okay.
green.
Right.
Pretty sure I got the all black, and then the Joy-Con started drifting, so I switched over to the blue and red.
True. I got the black one first, ordered off on Amazon when the Splatoon beta was announced, and then I got the Animal Crossing one that I still have, and I just love the Animal Crossing
I see.
Joy-Con. So if it was blue green, would have also preferred that as well.
Okay. I guess you guys being like, part of the, I guess like it was like gray, black, kind of color scheme for the original Switch. I guess this probably doesn't like stick out to you guys as much as it does to me.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I mean, it does. It does stick out to me in a weird way where it's kind of like, yeah, I just don't know how the body of the Switch is going to look, right? Because if the body has this color scheme, then it sticks out. If it's just the controllers, c'est la vie.
Yeah.
Like, I can live with that.
Like I know that the controller shells themselves are probably going to become, colored at some point. But I actually dislike that the Switch 2 is like, I guess like now standard form is the full black with the colored accents.
Yeah, I guess for me, I probably won't notice it too much with the Joy-Cons in, but I think when you get to the minor details, that is something that I guess also bothers me, but I think something that can be something to live with as well.
But like I guess like, for more controller stuff, I think the very, very big thing is the new button. The button that is now below the home button on the right Joy-Con. It is labeled C, and nobody is quite sure what it's for just yet. And I don't know what you guys have heard about it, but I've heard two very, I guess like, or things that I could like very much see it being.
Really, too. I've only heard the one thing, which was the campus community rumor going around right now.
That's one of the ones I heard as well, where like, basically Nintendo is going to be making their own kind of like social network again. Going back to the Miiverse, which I think would be very, I don't know, personally I think I'd enjoy it, especially if you can access it on the computer, because getting screenshots off of the Switch post, Twitter removal sucks.
It does.
It is garbo. It involves like very weirdly two QR code scans where one, you create a QR code to connect to the Switch itself through Wi-Fi, and then you have a second QR code that sends you to like a website where you can pull the pictures off of.
I hate it.
I'm interested in that again because I want to see, what do you call it, like kind of like Miiverse come back. I want to see PictoChat again.
Yep.
Because, while we are in a very reminiscent episode, I do very much remember during our high school graduation,
Yep.
PictoChatting with people during that assembly.
Core memory, Matt. Core memory.
And I'm hoping that something social networky will come back again.
Okay. What was the second thing you've heard that this could potentially be?
So the second thing I heard is that it could be a cast button. That like what I've been hearing is that you can now sync your Switch 2 to your dock, and when you press this button, you cast the TV while the whole thing is in your hand. And I think that this is very, very interesting.
Matt, what can you potentially do with something like that?
So something like this, you now, with the Nintendo Switch Online service, they kind of are doing their old consoles and stuff, right? But with this, you're now, if the cast button is a real thing, you can now have two screens again. So you can do your, DS, 3DS stuff maybe I don't know like how much 3DS stuff they would bring over, but you have access to your DS stuff because now you'll have your screen in front of you and you'll have a touch screen in your hand that you can use again. And the thing that really, really interests me is them bringing over Wii U stuff. Because, you basically have the Wii U kind of thing in your hand again. And for future stuff, that makes me very interested because I think for me, some of the most fun that I had was the asynchronous Wii U style gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, particularly, I guess, like Nintendo Land stuff, where, there was one person using the controller with the screen on it. They had their own view, and then everybody else is using the TV itself for their gameplay. And I don't know, I just thought that stuff was all very, very fun. And I'm interested in seeing if this is a cast button, if that sort of thing is going to come back.
I think that sounds way too cool, where I'm pretty sure this would be the campus button.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the social network button, but...
You, really sold me on the cast idea, where I think, nope, they're not going to do that at all. Now, that's too good to be true.
Yeah,
that's too good for the Nintendo we know.
Yeah.
But, man, moving on, once we saw the hardware, I think the trailer was pretty straightforward. We did see the confirmation. I think we've known this before, but reconfirmed that there will be some backwards compatibility. Most Switch games will work on the Switch 2. And then we got our glimpse at, I guess, the first Switch 2 game officially in a new Mario Kart, where I know this was a discussion I had with friend of or Saturday morning alum Julian, where how do you guys feel about Mario Kart being the the first soft reveal game wise for the Switch 2? Because for us, honestly, when I saw that, without just that first glance, I thought that was just Mario Kart 8 DX once again, where it wasn't until I started pausing and started reading comments where, oh, these are new carts, this is a new level, this is a new Donkey Kong model, that, oh, this is probably most likely Mario Kart 9. But as your first, hey, this is a game running, well, it makes sense from a how many units it sold standpoint of course you will show off Mario Kart. I was kind of underwhelmed by that, but what did you guys think of the Mario Kart reveal?
I think it makes a lot of sense that they showed Mario Kart here, because of how integrated Mario Kart is into the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass.
Right.
I am very, very interested in seeing how they are going to handle Mario Kart, from the drop, because I am very, 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 very interested in seeing what the first few games to release are going to be. Like I said, because of the expansion pass, I'm interested in seeing if they are going to turn their games, like these kind of Mario Kart-esque franchises, into full kind of games as a service type games.
Okay.
With constantly updating maps, with just like adding characters and whatnot. I'm interested in seeing if, hey, is Splatoon gonna move into this kind of thing? Is Animal Crossing gonna move into this sort of realm? Is Mario Party? Like, I think that with Mario Kart being the first one of the games to come for the Switch 2, I think maybe it sets a precedent for how a lot more of these like Nintendo Party games are gonna work.
Okay. Oh, that's a good way to look at it as well, and one I didn't really consider. Where, yeah, considering how Mario Kart 8 DX was one of the bigger, or yeah, arguably one of the bigger online experiences that you can have on the Switch, I'm really curious just to see if that C button is a community button, a campus button, where are they going to take online a lot more seriously for the Switch 2, and what does that mean for their games that do lend themselves to that service model, including potentially Mario Kart 9, where Matt, as a veteran racer in the Mario Kart franchise, what do you think of the current rumors and speculation going around that, we saw that the starting line had potentially 24 racers on it, but also that this might be potentially a open world Mario Kart game. Does that do anything for you, or would you prefer it to be still traditional? Hey, here's your cups and here are your tracks.
I think I would want it to be more traditional. I honestly don't understand in my head how open world Mario Kart works because, like, in my head, it's just a big version of Yoshi's Valley from Nintendo 64, which is one of my least favorite maps because I didn't know how to navigate it properly.
Yeah.
And like I don't really know like what you do for the open world because I know that, like, a lot of other racing games have become open world, but I feel like one of the novelties of Mario Kart is just like how weird their tracks get.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe those wouldn't be good for, open world traversal. You
Yeah,
know what I
definitely.
mean? Yeah.
Where, as someone who is a big fan of Forza Horizon and, the Need for Speed, the Midnight Club games, where when I think about their, open world environments, their countryside, it is essentially, oh, here are your cities, here are your towns, here are your, points of interest, all connected by highways and strips of road. Where one of the one of the most beautiful things about Mario Kart in general is just that variety of tracks, of the different locations, of the different aesthetics. And when I think open world, while that might be a cool novelty, how do you mix so many different styles, how so many different levels into one thing? And not only that, but keep adding to it, adding to that world every new season. Like, maybe there can be a balance where there might be just one big open world with, hey, here are your different biomes all connected by twisty roads or like jump paths, but still having the tracks might be something to really differentiate it and make it a new installment. But honestly, seeing the 24 racer starting line is, I think that might be enough at the very least.
Yeah.
That How do you feel about them still not returning to the Double Dash format?
Oh man, I miss a double dash format. I'm sad that double dash isn't here, but 24 racers just makes me think about all the blue shells that'll be flying during that match, all the thunder, all the bloopers, all that all those all those garbage AoE items.
I assume you can probably pick like 8, 16, or 24, right?
Yeah, but like when I think about like a 24 player match, and in already like an 8 player match, you're gonna get probably shocked once a lap. And if you multiply that by like 3 more people, it's just thunder all day, baby.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that's fair.
Where
Oh my god. Sorry. I just imagine dropping from like first right at the finish line and getting blue shelled like consecutively, and you finish the race in 24th.
not when you said drop, why was my immediate reaction, oh, this is going to be a battle royale and you were going to be dropped from the Mario Kart battle bus, and then you're just going around collecting items and trying to survive.
Jaren, I feel like it's been long enough since Battle Royale was a big thing for Nintendo to now like drop a take on it.
That is Splatoon for the perfect opportunity for a Splatoon Battle Royale.
Ooh. Oh man, that probably would be very, very good. And the tracking, from like all the ink being everywhere would be even better.
Let's face
man.
it, with the amount of bots in Fortnite right now, really top 25 is when all the action starts. And come on, I'm seeing 24 carts here. Perfect for potential battle royale. But again, at the end of the trailer, we saw that we're going to learn more information this coming April. Another direct, that's where games will be shown off. And I think speculation right now is May, June release date. Rakush, when do you think this bad boy is coming out?
I'm going to say sometime September because it needs to just be in market for the holiday season. but it needs to be a hot commodity for the holiday season. I don't think they're going to have any difficulties with it being a hot commodity, but September is my bet.
Okay. Matt, when do you think this is coming out?
Shadow drop. Let's go.
What do you guys think the price is going to be?
Ooh. Good question, Rakush. Good question.
I asked the dirty question here. That's the one that no one wants to actually talk about.
I've been seeing some like prices speculations, and what I've been seeing, like once it's translated into like Canadian, is like $600, which is in my head like very high for what I was expecting.
What's 400 US in Canadian right now?
Like 570 something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying, Rakush, are you saying $3.99 USD?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. For some reason, $4.49 USD is what's coming to me right now, and whatever that ends up being for us in Canada, whether they make it most likely $5.99 or $5.49, but. Let's say after conversion, this ends up being a $5.99 piece of hardware. Matt, are you buying this year?
It honestly for me depends on what hot hardware they're dropping during that direct. But if I had to base it off how I'm feeling right now, I'm gonna say no.
Rakush, how about you?
I probably not, regardless of what they announce in April for it. Probably not, because I just don't think that I'm at that point in my life anymore where I want to buy like a console during launch. I want to see what games they release. I want to see if there's any games that I actually know definitively I'm going to play, because it's going to be a lot of money, right? We're all safely assuming that it's going to be over 500 Canadian at the very least. And then on top of that, you add, peripherals, you add video games. Like, you're looking at around $700 to $800 minimum to actually play these games, right? So I just want to be a little bit mindful of all of that, because hey, new consoles are expensive, right? Like not just like, oh, in this day and age everything's expensive. No, like it's just expensive, period.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a good point, where I know you said peripherals, but it's true, where this thing launches, I probably would want a Pro Controller as well.
I do wonder if the current Pro Controller is going to work.
That's also true. I mean, games are backwards compatible. I'm curious if a controller would be as well. But Matt, when we're talking about the Direct coming this April, what are you hoping to see first party?
I mean, I'm hoping to see like some, I don't know, Zelda, Splatoon, Kirby stuff. But I think, honestly, first party, all we'd really get is probably a Mario. Or a Donkey Kong. I feel like Donkey Kong.
I think we see Metroid Prime 4.
Ooh. Metroid Prime 4 with mouse mode, maybe?
True.
Possibly. Yeah, actually, you know what? Hey, that's not a bad idea. First-person game with mouse mode, if that's a thing.
That'd be good.
I could see it.
Because, if that is a prominent feature of your controller, you would want a flagship title to reflect that. So I can definitely see Metroid Prime stepping into that realm as well, where we're probably going to see a bunch of third party, more of this Mario Kart. And Matt, I agree, we will see Elite Beat Agents this April. It is coming back. Man.
Okay, you know what, I guess like while we're on that thread, is there any like kind of like basically dead Nintendo property that you would hope gets a revival on this system?
I mean, I said it's not when you said the cast button. Two DS games that immediately came to mind are Elite Beat Agents, because I'm always thinking about Elite Beat Agents, but also Mario Hoops 3-on-3 basketball, where I believe the Square collab will come back in fruition, and we will get Cloud dunking on Mario for the first time. I'm excited. Thank you for confirming it, Matt, here on the Mistake Zone. But likewise, Matt, how about you? What are you hoping to see get revived in this new generation of the Switch hardware?
I mean, I think I'm always wanting a custom Robo to come back, but it's never going to be the same as when the GameCube had it for me.
Boys, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it rumored for a bit? Wasn't that on Gaming Leaks? Guys, I'm going to go on Gaming Leaks and Rumors right now and type custom Robo while Matt finishes his thought.
I mean, I never heard anything about it, but like I feel like custom robo is something I would really want. Even though I never played it on the Switch, I kind of I want the Switch 2 to be my ARMS debut.
Not according to this gaming leaks and rumors thread from 18 days ago. Uh, the dev team of ARMS seems to be working on a custom Robo sequel.
Oh,
Take
damn.
that with a grain of salt,
Oh.
but we'll see.
Oh, I hope it's good and like not like I didn't like the DS one, so I hope this one is more my style.
Oh man. How about you, Rakush? What are you hoping to see Nintendo wise come to this hardware?
Um, Gonna give a bit of a non-committal answer. I just want to see something unique. I want to see them actually show something that they're trying that they haven't tried with their games before, right? Whatever franchise that is with. I just want to see innovation.
Oh, man.
That's kind of like the main thing I'm looking for.
They're gonna bring back Boken or whatever that game was. Was it?
Sure.
Was that? Oh, do you guys? Okay, is that the name of that game? Do you remember the?
The fighting Pokemon game, right?
No. Sorry, not Pokken. I mean, it was I think a Game Boy Advance game where it was about vampires or something, and you had to play it out in the sun because the cartridge had like a sunlight, like it was able to track sunlight, and that's how you like charge your attacks in the game.
Oh, I don't remember that, but that's cool as hell.
Was that a Kojima game? Am I making that up? Or
I'm gonna look for this game.
Are you thinking like the Metal Gear Solid memory card thing, Jaren?
Boktai. It was called Boktai. The
Right.
sun is in your hand.
was that a Kojima game? Why do I think Kojima is attached
Konami. Oh yeah, this is produced by Hideo Kojima. Of course it is.
Okay.
Oh man.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Golden Sun have something like that, or did they have a different sun mechanic?
No, I don't think it had a literal sun mechanic in Golden Sun. I think Golden Sun just had that as a name. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing a. Actually, I don't know if I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't think I'd play a new Golden Sun if it's a turn-based RPG.
Okay, boys. I know we. I hope this would be a short, sub 1 hour episode, but of course this is the Beefy Boy Zone. But I think we're legally obligated to say the following sentence. But boys, to end it off before April, now that we live in a post Switch 2 reveal world, what does Smash look like on the Switch 2?
Ooh, I think it is rebooted. I think it's rebooted or it's ultimate.
Rakush, how are you feeling?
I think we get a remaster.
Yeah, remaster. That's the word I was looking for, not ultimate.
I know Sakurai keeps saying it's a licensing nightmare, but how, if we see a remaster, does everyone make it back? Or does the license, do the lawyers finally get involved?
I think they have to come back, right? Because this game is this system is technically backwards compatible, which means that
Oh, they
if
might
I'm
not even
understanding it
release
correctly, all
one.
the
Is what you're
DLC.
saying.
Yeah, they might not. Yeah, but all the
Ooh.
DLC should work with whatever they release. So yeah,
Oh,
man.
I guess
I don't know. I think we're in a post Smash Bros. Society.
I don't know about that.
You have to make it. But what that looks like, I'm most curious. But that will be a discussion for another time. But boys,
Wait,
look
sorry.
forward.
One more question. What do you guys think about the name Switch 2 or Nintendo Switch 2?
You know why it's called the Switch 2?
Why, Rakesh?
Because it's a Switch 2.
I'm kind of disappointed that they called it the Nintendo Switch 2.
What else were they? I don't know. What else were they gonna call it? Like, there's not that much more innovation
I
to it.
don't know. Like I was hoping that they're gonna call it something crazy, or like at least like something like the Super Switch or something like that. But I know that like
Nah.
the whole kerfuffle with the Wii U naming is probably like gonna live rent free in Nintendo's head forever. So
Yeah.
Switch 2 makes a lot of sense. I'm just disappointed that it's not called something crazier.
Yeah, I definitely know where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, with the Switch being as big as it was and is, I feel like you have to. You need to know what you're selling, and you're selling the next Switch, and I feel like that will be enough for them. But here's hoping, at the very least, when there's some sort of anniversary, we do get a Super Switch color scheme at the very least, or release. I think that's the extent it will go, just like special editions. where we might see the Switch Entertainment System or the Super Switch, or even maybe the Switch U in some weird way. But yeah, I guess this April we'll find out more gameplay wise and event. Actually, come April, there has to be a release date at that point, right?
More than likely will be, right?
Yeah.
Because we have the virtual show on April 2nd or April 4th, and then they're also doing a lot of in-person events that month
The
as
Nintendo
well.
experiences. Did you guys sign
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Nah.
no. Not going to go outside
Nah.
to play video games,
Nah.
Jaren.
up? Fair.
Interacting with other gamers? No, are you kidding me?
I signed up.
Nah. No, thank you.
We signed up. Hopefully we get it. Probably won't. But if we do, something to talk about at the very least. But boys, another beefy boy episode once again. But can't end an episode of the Mistake Zone without our weekly Don't Match Me challenge. Rakush,
Hey, that's me.
I believe you're up to bat this week. Please
I am.
drop some challenges for us.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, we've spent a lot of this episode talking about the Switch 2, and so this week's Don't Match Me is inspired by that. Jaren, you want to do the rules again, or because I don't remember them? I just kind of go with the flow.
Sure. So every week we do the Don't Match Me challenge, where one of us will bring 5 questions for you, and you, our friends out there, all you have to do is simply come up with an answer that doesn't match, in this case, Rakush's answer. That's normal mode, but if you want to do some hard mode, also try not to match myself and Matt at the same time. And don't worry, I know it might sound pretty intimidating, but since this is a audio journal, an audio podcast, if you don't know answer, feel free to pause it, quickly type it up, search it up, and then come to one and hope that you don't match Rakush's answer this week. But Rakush, switch to
Yeah.
take it away.
Okay, so we spent a lot of time talking about Mario Kart because it's one of the first game that was shown for the Switch 2. So I'm going to open this up with a little bit of an easy question for you guys, considering the amount of characters that are in Mario Kart. Name a character from Mario Kart.
8 or Mario Kart General?
Mario Kart General, but 8 would probably have all of them.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go with Link.
Ooh.
Rakush, are you confirming Super Smash Kart for the Switch 2?
Super Smash Kart. That just sounds like Rocket League.
Fair enough.
I'd play Nintendo branded Rocket League.
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
That would be a fun game.
Matt, who'd you got?
I feel played it risky. I picked Mario.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Just basic Mario, Matt?
Basic Mario.
All right. I went with Pauline.
Ooh.
Okay. Interesting. Honestly, I kind of figured, like, what if you would go for Donkey Kong? That's why I didn't go for Donkey Kong. That was going to be my second choice. Okay.
Wait, what do you guys think of the new Donkey Kong model for Mario Kart 9?
So I've been seeing some memes about that. I need to, like, stare at the screenshots a little bit more because I don't think I actually noticed the difference.
Yeah, to be honest, like I think it flew by so quickly for me that I never really processed it. It's a new Donkey Kong.
Fair enough. Rakush?
Okay, question 2. Another little bit of a meatball that I'm throwing you guys here, just to kind of, help everybody get these right. So the next question, one of Nintendo's most popular franchises, Mario. I want you guys to name a Mario game.
Ooh.
Hate to be this person. Are we talking about mainline Mario or just any Mario game?
Mainline Mario.
Okay.
Good clarification there. In 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go with Super Mario Galaxy.
Ooh.
Okay. Matt?
Rakush, I'm 1 generation behind you at Oh wait, no, I'm not. I'm 2 generations behind you at Super Mario 64.
Ooh. Matt?
Okay.
Is it a Super Mario or is it just Mario 64?
Mario
No, I'm pretty
64.
sure.
It's Mario
No,
64.
It's Super Mario 64.
Yeah, it's Super
okay.
Mario 64.
Because I too went with Super Mario 64.
Damn.
Ooh.
Damn, we already lost. I thought this would have been an easy one.
No.
To not guess right.
We don't have to match with you, Rakush. Me and Matt can match.
That's the law.
Oh, that's the
law.
semantics. Okay. I almost went with Sunshine, actually. That was the other one I was thinking about. But no, I decided to go with my favorite Mario game, Galaxy.
I forgot Sunshine existed.
Oh, no. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that Sunshine exists.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping for more of a reaction to that, but like, wow, what a cheery thing. Thanks, guys. Question 3. We're going to get into a little bit more of a nitty-gritty question here. A lot of the talk has been around, the Joy-Cons and things like that. I'm going to expand this out to all consoles. Name a video game controller.
Ooh. A controller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be a Nintendo console. Can be any video game console.
So just to clarify, are we talking about any video game controller, or would you say a first-party video game controller?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's say first party.
Okay.
I am going to ask you guys a question at the end of this because I am curious about this one answer I'm thinking of. I'm not going to give that answer, but I'm curious about this. Okay. In 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go with the DualShock.
Ooh.
Okay. The
Rakush?
Sony DualShock.
The Sony, yes.
Okay.
Rakush, I'll be
What's
honest with
up?
you. I also went with the DualShock
Damn.
because that is the only controller I know the name of.
The Joy-Con. You've been saying Joy-Con for the last hour.
Oh yeah, that's a controller. Okay, I guess I know 2 controllers. So okay, Jaren, go say your answer. Say your answer.
Oh, I just went with the Dreamcast controller. I did. Do controllers have names?
I mean, like, yeah, I guess I'm kind of curious if that one had its own name, but yeah.
Yeah, because I guess like the Joy-Con and the DualShock are the only controllers I can like name.
Yeah.
Like this is your legal name.
I guess even like the N64 controller doesn't actually have like a
Yeah,
name, right?
It's just like the N64 controller.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, do you guys think the DS stylus is a controller?
No, it's a stylus.
Do you think
Get
the
out of
Power
here.
Glove?
Yeah.
Do you think the Power Glove is a controller?
Oh man, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's a yeah.
Interesting. Okay. We also have the Wiimotes,
Oh yeah, the Wiimote's a named one.
the Move controllers.
Guys,
Oh,
is the
yeah.
Kinect
I
a
forgot to
controller?
move.
Connect
Is
is
the
you are the controller.
You are the controllers. Yeah, you are the controller.
The real controller are the friends we made along the way.
Yes.
Question number 4. I'm going to go a little bit easier here now. It seems like, we've kind of stumbled with the last 2. Name a Nintendo console.
Okay. Sorry. Gotta clarify again. Are we talking about home console, or does this include handhelds as well?
This includes handhelds.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, I'm going with the Game Boy Color.
Ooh.
Okay.
Specifically the transparent purple one.
Ooh. Oh, that's
That's a good one. That's a good
That's
one.
one
That's a
of
good one.
Game Boy Colors I think of when I think of the Game
That's
Boy
a
Color.
definitive. Yeah, that to me that's a definitive Game Boy
I was
Color.
gonna ask, what is the definitive? Like, I guess in this case, it's the Game Boy Color. Where I do agree, it's either translucent purple, or I also associate the lime green one as. If someone told me that the lime green Game Boy Color was their de facto Game Boy Color, I would accept that.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the lime green and the translucent purple are the ones I think of first.
And my answer is the N64. Where same question. When you think what's the okay? Even though we know it's going to be the gray one, other than the gray one, what's the de facto N64 color that comes to mind?
For some reason, I think of the translucent orange.
Oh, really? That's the one?
That's a good one.
I go to the translucent green for Donkey Kong. Is when I think of N64, it's either the original or that green one.
Interesting.
I don't think I've ever seen the green one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I always, to be honest, like I don't even remember the translucent ones as much. I like when you said translucent orange, I do remember that, but like I always mostly remember seeing just like your black and gray N64s.
Weird, because I think of the green one, the light blue one, then the orange one, where like orange is like the third one for me.
Right. Interesting. Matt, you didn't give your answer for this one.
Oh, the Game Boy. The Game Boy original.
Original Game Boy.
The,
Okay.
that gray brick.
The gray brick. Yeah. Man. That takes me back. Remember playing Batman on that one. Insane game. All right. Okay. I have a last question here. However, if the question doesn't make sense, I do have a backup question here. Okay. So, Matt, you might just need to cut around this, all right? If the audience doesn't hear the backup question, it means it's good. If they hear the backup question, it means it's a stupid question. So, do with that what you will. All right. So, we've been talking a lot about backwards compatibility on the Switch 2, how that's going to work with, physical media. Name any kind of delivery method for video games that games are sold in.
Ugh.
I'll answer the question, and then you guys can take another 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds to, maybe think on this a little bit.
I have one.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just talking about video game format at this point, right?
Basically, yeah. Name a type of video game format that, the video game is sold in. So, in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go with the GameCube mini disc.
Ooh, okay.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think I misunderstood what you meant by format. Because I said a box with a CD key in it, or with the download code in it.
Honestly,
I mean, that's
I'll take that answer.
Valid.
I think I'll take that answer. Yes, I bought many video games like that, so I will definitely give you that.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, I went with, I don't know why, but specifically, I went with DS cartridge.
Yeah. I was honestly thinking cartridge, like DS cartridge, Switch cartridge, one of those, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't tell if this was open-ended or we had to be specific, so that's why I added the DS.
Good shout. So I got a question about the DS cartridges for you, and just cartridges in general. What do you think is the best cartridge of all time across any consoles?
I
would think about the
N64.
ones, the one that gave you the most sense of excitement when you saw that cartridge.
Honestly, the only thing I do have affinity for is the N64 cartridges, where we were at I forgot to mention this, but during our hunt for Pokemon Prismatic Evolutions, we ended up at a Jumbo Video Microplay.
Nice.
Which, in addition to selling retro games and new games, they also just had, this was a massive store that lets you rent games, lets you rent Blu-rays, lets you rent DVDs. So just to see a place that lets you rent and seeing that massive of a library in 2025 made me feel a type of ways. But to answer your question, Rakush, it is the N64 one, because I'll be looking at these, retro game stores or at these hobby cons or expos, and then I'll see a NES cartridge, I'll see an NES, a Super Nintendo cartridge, and I don't have that affinity. Same towards a Game Boy cartridge or a DS cartridge. But when I see a N64 cartridge, because that was what I grew up on mainly, that does something for me.
I think for me it's the NES or SNES cartridges, because when I was still in India, 4 or 5 years old, video games were still a little bit of an urban myth for me, right? We didn't have our own console until much later.
Like Ghosts.
And yeah, honestly, it was a little bit of just there's a mystique around it where it's my friends had consoles, friends played on PCs, whatever it was. It took us a little bit of time to get to the point where we were playing our own video games. Honestly, beyond just the NES, I think it is those knockoff 50 and 101 cartridges. I think that's probably the one that I would say is my favorite. Because that's the one where I see it, I'm that's nostalgia.
I just really like your choice of words for an urban legend, because it's
Urban legend,
just
yeah.
imagine the Mothman playing Game Boy or something.
No,
Amazing.
but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
It
I
was
know
all
what you mean. I just
Yeah.
like that word choice.
Yeah. There was just definitely something unseen about games at that point that it's kind of taken for granted in this day and age. But back in the day, oh man, this guy has an original NES. That used to mean something in India, especially, right? When the person I used to go get my I used to go for extra lessons after school. And the person whose house I would go to, her son owned an original NES. So we would play the Power Rangers game on that console. And it was wow, this is the coolest thing ever. So there was a definite sort of charm to it, or in a sort of sense of like excitement to it, of like, ooh, like, I've never seen this before. So yeah,
Oh,
very
man.
nostalgic episode, guys.
Yeah.
Boys, I say it every week, but this has been a Beefy Boy episode.
Sub
And with
1
that,
hour, this guy.
I want to thank
I-
one of my best friends in the whole world, Matt Alba, for joining me this week and editing this Beefy Boy podcast.
I mean, this episode was supposed to just be Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket and Nintendo Switch 2. And I think if you just take those two segments, it's an hour episode.
I don't even think so. You guys talked about the Switch 2 for 40 minutes.
Yeah, so Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket and Switch 2, that would have been an hour.
Just cold open, like no intros, nothing, no talk
No,
of
nothing.
Rumballs.
Honestly,
Okay.
yeah, like
Okay.
if it was
Okay,
just
okay,
take those
okay.
two segments, I bet it's an hour.
All right. Small
I want to
victories.
thank Rakush also for joining us this week, bringing this week's Don't Match Me challenge, and also telling us his war stories from his time at EB Games.
Thanks for reminding me of those stories, Jaren.
I want to thank all the people I met when standing in line for Prismatic Evolutions. Boys, I want to thank Evie. I want to thank Sylveon. I want to thank all the Evolutions. Real quick, Matt, your favorite Evolution?
I like the design of Leafeon the most.
Rakush, yours.
Ooh, Jolteon's pretty good.
Cool. And for me, gotta go with Espeon. And Matt, can't wait to talk to you about Zenless Zone Zero next week.
Ooh, yep.
And until then, please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of the cast button.